Hi everyone. So I did mine a bit backwards. I recorded my task analysis first, which I'm kind of glad I did because I realized where it went wrong. There is one point where I'm not specific with my reinforcer. However, I didn't want to re-record it because I had already used 2 coffee pods and that's just a waste of money. So yeah, so there's one part where I'm not very specific, where I should have been specific towards what I was reinforcing him for. I believe it was standing back from the coffee so it doesn't get burned. Not quite sure. I believe that was it. Also, at one point, my coffee machine, because we waited so long, it timed out, so it wouldn't work when I pressed the button. So as a support worker, not as Matthew, just wanted to clarify, I lifted up the lid a bit and closed it so that it would work. And I wouldn't prompt Matthew through this step as he got more used to doing this, because it's a backwards chaining model. He would become quicker at it, and that wouldn't be a problem by the time he reaches that step to do it independently. Okay, so now to actually explain what I'm talking about here, so you guys aren't confused anymore. So the name is Matthew. The background is that he's a sorry for the children's store in the background, very social 23-year-old with a moderate intellectual disability and a severe visual impairment. He has expressed a desire in making coffee on his own, as he does not always want to wait for his direct support professional to be available. Several attempts have been made to teach him to use this skill, using informal methods, as well as a forward chaining model. The experience using the forward chaining model showed that Matthew became frustrated, which he showed by swearing and kicking the counter, and quickly lost motivation, which was shown by him asking to do different tasks. These reactions are believed to be caused by it taking too long from the time he started the task to the time he receives his coffee. So the modification that I made to the coffee machine is that the buttons were raised to different sizes. So it allows Matthew to be able to differentiate between the different settings. And the buttons were raised using household objects. The power button was raised using the pencil eraser and tape, and there's a small coffee button, like a big coffee button, and I raised the big coffee button slightly just with a little piece of tape underneath. It's a picture of it. Okay, so the target behaviors: Matthew will make his own coffee independently using a Keurig coffee machine with the modified buttons. Now the cautions are that the coffee comes out of the machine very hot, so staff must ensure that Matthew is careful to not burn himself by helping him stand back when the coffee is coming out, and ensuring he only grabs the mug by the handle. Furthermore, there is a sharp needle that is used to puncture the coffee pod inside the machine. It's located at the very top, and it is accessible when the lever is open. Staff must ensure Matthew does not put his hand inside the opening and only inserts the cup into the hole. My objective: to learn how to make coffee independently. This is Matthew's objective. From start to finish with the aforementioned button adaptations. This would include getting the cup from the cupboard, turning on the machine, placing his cup correctly under machine, filling the machine up with water, and completing all the steps included below, which is my task analysis, independently. Upon completion of this objective, Matthew will achieve his goal of not having to wait for his DSP to have a coffee. So the baseline was over a 3-day observation period. Matthew could independently complete 0 out of the 12 steps that were required to make a coffee. Therefore, we will teach him to make his coffee using the backward chaining and modified buttons. So our short-term goal is that when standing in front of the Keurig coffee machine that is free of an old coffee pod, is on, is heated, and is full of water, and also has modified buttons, Matthew will make his coffee. He will do this independently every morning with a success rate of 5 out of 7 trials. All 12 steps will be completed within 10 minutes of starting and will be observed and recorded by a direct support professional. My operational definition is that Matthew will use his right hand to grab onto a coffee pod and use his left hand to hold the lever. Sorry, you're going to notice I'm going back and forth between the two because I'm really not sure which one's correct. He will then use his left hand to lift up the lever, put the coffee pod inside the hole using his right hand, and use his left hand to close the lever. Matthew will use his right hand, fingers spread, to run down the right side of the Keurig machine. He will place his middle and pointer fingers on the big and small buttons. He will then select a size of coffee by pressing the appropriate button. Matthew will then stand back and wait for the coffee maker to stop making noise. He will once again run his hand down the coffee machine on the right side with his fingers extended and find the tallest button. He will press the tallest button to turn off the machine. He will then use his left hand to lift the lever, his right hand to remove the old coffee pod, and his left hand again to close the lever. He will then throw out the coffee pod by opening the cupboard with his left hand and placing the coffee pod inside the garbage with his right hand. Matthew will grab the coffee mug by the handle and remove it from under the machine. Now, the equipment required would obviously be a Keurig coffee machine, which is modified using the machine itself, tape, and a pencil eraser, but it could even be a small rock. It doesn't really matter, just enough to make it stick up. A bowl with coffee pods inside, a mug, as well as a garbage. Okay. So that is my intro, and next to follow is the task analysis. So once again, I apologize for the lever business. Anyways, enjoy.